the Lunchbox half hour. Blue collar, Lunchbox half hour. No excuses. Go for your big goal and do not quit. That's what we talk about on this lunch pail half hour. Woo woo. Anyway, today, what the subject was that I was looking at talking to you guys about was to think like a warrior. You know, the mental habits of unstoppable people and kind of what, you know, what unstoppable people do, how they think, you know. They're definitely dominated by, they control their mind and the negative thinking. I mean, that's what I'm always working on, controlling getting the negative thinking out of my head and going, you know, towards positive. You know, and that's how you make it big in life, is you got to get that negative thinking out of your head and go positive. And that's why I got my wall behind me, you know, the big vision wall that, like, there's lots of freaking affirmations on here to keep me positive. And we talked a little bit last week about brainwashing. I don't think I can talk enough about how important brainwashing yourself is, you know, for positive. So I like, you know what I mean? It's either you control your mind or you let the outside world control your mind with, you know, I don't know, by watching the news, negative stuff, you know. You don't want to be watching, you know, any of this stuff that gets in your head. You can't be a warrior if you're always depressed about stuff, you know, like all the negative stuff that's, you know, that gets put into your head. So Jesse had a question here. So yeah, she said, what is the difference between unstoppable people and everyone else? I think everyone else, kind of the average person, just kind of goes with the flow of society, you know, and what's going on. And they don't want to be a bother. And they just kind of go about their business, their daily business. And, you know, they don't want to make waves. They don't, you know, that's what the average person does. And the person who is unstoppable going for their goals, they freaking are not average, man. They're not average at all. They just, if they got a goal, they're not going to quit. They're going to keep going after it and going after it and going after it. And, you know, that's what I'm encouraging you to do. This podcast is for people who want to be, I guess it's a podcast now. I just named it a podcast. Woo, woo. It's for people who want to be great. You know, if you want to be great, you got to freaking be unstoppable. You have to have the warrior mindset, you know, unstoppable. And it's like, just that there's always stuff that comes up that could set you back. There's always, like, just life, it always throws stuff at you. I mean, I wish, you know, that it was easy, and it just doesn't seem easy, man. There's just nothing about life seems easy. It seems like when you're going easy, when I'm going easy for a while, all of a sudden, boom, it hits again. Then you got to fight to get back up, you know. And then, you know, I talk with Jessie, she's my life coach, and it's like, I like the frickin' fight. I like the fight, man. I don't want it to be easy. I like that life is frickin' hard and the challenges are hard. And how can I make it harder? That's that is what I do. But it is like, it's definitely challenging, you know. And so she's asking about my inner dialogue. You know, there's a question about my inner dialogue. Really important to try and keep that positive. You know, it's not easy. It's a habit, you know, that you if you keep, you know, when the negative stuff comes up, you have to force it out, man. Or you have to have resets, you know. Like if my brain goes negative, I need sleep is usually, or I need nutrition, you know. I need to hydrate. Things like that when stuff goes negative, you know. And it's like, and you can't let it go negative for too long. You have to, because, you know, everybody's human. And even the people, you know, who are the huge achievers, their brain it starts to go negative. The key with them is in having the warrior mindset is that you're gonna fight to get out of it. You're not gonna wallow in that negative stuff, and which will bring you down into depression to where you end up doing nothing in life. You just sit there and say, poor me. And I've had that for periods of time, but you gotta fight to get out of that. So whatever it takes, I'm doing a lot of meditating now, which to quiet my brain down. So when the negative stuff comes up, it's not as bad. You know, you get your if you can get your brain quiet, which I do like Joe Dispenza, you know, just like 20-minute meditations or 15-minute, you know, like and that's the minimum that I'll do as a Joe Dispenza. But also, if I got time, I'm going to do, you know, 20 minutes of Wim Hof breathing, and then do, which clears my brain, and then I do my 15 minutes or, you know, 15-minute meditation from Joe Dispenza, which is like critical for, you know, quieting your brain so you could get the positive things in there. Look at your goals, come up with a plan to get your goals, you know, be logical about getting your goals. You know, just get that unstoppable warrior mindset, you know, and that's like key is like it's got to you can go you'll go negative but not for very long. The key to being like great in life and having the mental habits of unstoppable people is you got to get that negative stuff out really, really quick, and then go back to being positive. You know, like I said, the ways, you know, the ways that I use to reset my mind is definitely the meditation, you know, which not only resets my mind at the time of it, you know, especially doing the Wim Hof and 20 minutes that, then the 15-minute meditation, the Joe Dispenza is huge. But then, you know, and then you're moving along, and then you're in a positive mindset. But I also do like the other things I do is I'll shock the system, man. The cold, you know, or the pool, the bay. You know, I swim in San Francisco Bay. You know, you'd shock the system by getting in the bay. I go in the sauna every day. You know, the sauna at my club. You know, and shock the system in the sauna. You know, my theory is that when you put yourself in like a survival mode where your brain is only thinking about surviving, then that negative shit disappears. You know, your negative regular life. Oh, I got this bill to pay. I got that thing to do. That stuff disappears, and you go into like this survival thing. And then it's like a lot of times, like all, you know, I push the sauna at my club to as long as I can stay in there. And then I'll take a cold shower after I get out. If we had a cold plunge, I'd do that. But I do a cold shower, and I feel like $1,000,000 when I left there because I pushed myself into that, you know, uncomfortable area for me to where I'm just thinking about surviving. And then all of a sudden, you know, when you're into this survival mode, you don't care about some stupid bill that came in, you know, this or that. Your priorities get straightened out real quick when you push yourself towards extremes, you know. And so yeah, that's what I do. It's the unstoppable mindset. You know, you're going to go after that goal. Nothing's going to stop you. And if you know, and if you start having negative things, you have to get out of that cycle as quick as possible. You know, does anybody else have any questions about getting out of that? How, or any ideas of how they get out of the you know, when they're in that negative mindset where it's going, you know, one negative thought follows another, you know. So if I could only teach one mental habit to make someone unstoppable, what would it be? Don't quit. 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 There's nothing, you know, that's the one thing I would teach, that no matter what comes up, no matter what's negative. I mean, I've had that like in these big events. I remember doing like a 250-mile run, and at like mile 80, I felt like absolute crap. And I was doing this zombie walk. It was like the middle of the night, and you know, and it was like, you know, you're just like, there's every reason to quit. You're just not into it anymore, man. And you just say, okay, this is hugely negative. Everything hurts on me. All my feet were hurting. My whole body was hurting. I was exhausted. The excitement of the beginning of this race was over. And then it's just doing the work. And, and it's just, you're like, okay, I'm just going to make it to daylight. I just got to make it to daylight. I'll feel good when I make it to daylight. You're chipping it down. And then if daylight's too far away, okay, I'm going to make it to that street light up there or whatever. This was kind of a civilized event. There were street lights around. And, you're just chunking it down, but you just keep moving towards that goal no matter what, and life would be boring if there was no challenges, right? It would be like boring, man. People who if people who think that the ones who got it made, like the ones who, born with the silver spoon and they got, the money to do stuff and you think they got it made and then they don't, man, because they're soft. When you're brought up like that, you're soft. And I would rather be the guy, I mean, personally, who has it's a tough life to get, a tough upbringing that makes you tough than the soft guy who gets nailed later in life, because he can't handle life's challenges, So, and that's what that, and if you've had a soft life to begin with, you got to come up with your own freaking challenges to make you tougher because the mind is it's a muscle. And if you want a warrior mindset, you know what I mean? You got to go do challenges that scare the crap out of you to strengthen that mind. So that is what I do. And I think I've shared this before, but I went to a Tony Robbins a long time ago and I wrote down all my big fears. And I just kept going after those fears because every time you attack a fear, it makes you stronger, and the stronger you get, the more you get in that warrior mindset that you're not going to quit no matter what, you're just not going to quit no matter what. So when I'm in the middle of the night and I feel like everything hurts and I want to quit so freaking bad, but you just don't because you keep chunking it down and you remind yourself how crappy when you have quit in life, and I haven't quit in quite a while on things, but when I used to quit, excuse my French, it was horrible, right? It's a horrible mindset. You're going to be then you're falling right into average, where average people, when the going gets tough, they quit. If you want to have the warrior mindset and you want to have the mental habits of unstoppable people, the number one thing is you don't quit, period. You just don't quit. Now, and I get knocked out of events and don't finish things and have things happen, but I'm going to go back and do it again. That when I say don't quit, it means I'm not going to stop trying. And so it's automatic in my brain. It's just, there's not even a question that I will eventually be back and do this again when I can't do it because I got that unstoppable mind that I'm not going to quit no matter what, at least at trying, And that's what I'm encouraging you to do, no limits, no surrender, man. No excuses, no limits, no surrender. That's the warrior mindset, man. You can't have limits. You got to put it out there and you got to put out these big goals and you keep going after them no matter what, What's your daily commitment that separates warriors from the average? I think a daily commitment is that you have a daily commitment, that you got a list of goals or you got a goal for the day. I'm more of a big goal guy. I just keep working towards these big goals. What can I do today to go towards this big goal? What can I do? And I'm a big goal guy. And so I like having those big pictures out there, those big goals that I'm going to always go towards. And no matter what, I'm not going to quit on that goal. I could, you have setbacks and you have bad days, but then the next day you're teeing it up again. no matter, even if you have a bad day, you're freaking teeing it back up and you're going back after it again, so you're just you're unstoppable basically at trying and getting you're okay. I'm back into the warrior mindset. I'm coming back. I'm gonna try again today. Yesterday was a bad day. Nothing seemed like it went right, but that doesn't matter. I'm gonna keep going at it because for every one of those bad days, there's gonna eventually be a positive day that offsets that bad day because that's just how life is. The good things and they all offset eventually down the road, and so you just keep, it's the law of the universe, man. If it goes bad for a while, it's eventually going to start going good. And so when it goes bad, that's when most people quit. They quit when it goes bad. And that's what I'm encouraging you to get that warrior mindset that you're not going to be average. You're not going to quit when it goes bad. And instead, you're going to raise your game up and you're going to attack even more when it goes bad. You're going to double attack. Do whatever it takes to do it, So, yeah, and everybody, I just want to say, you don't have there's not bad breaks that come your way. Like you're some special person that bad breaks. I'm just unlucky. I always get bad breaks. Everybody gets bad breaks. The great people, if you study somebody who's done something really great in this world, like that they're really known for, they're number one in whatever their field is, they're in the history books, they've had bad days. They've had a lot of bad days. They've had a lot of bad breaks. You could take, I love this one where whenever I have like a good excuse about like that just things aren't going good and I've had this bad break and that bad break and this bad break. And then I remember listening to this video and it said, if you the guy's mom had told him, he says, if you took all the negative stuff in your life and everybody took all their negative stuff and they all threw it in a big pile in the middle. And he said, his mom told him, he said, you would want your negative stuff back. So no matter how bad you think you got it in life, there's people who got it way, way worse and who keep moving forwards towards their goal. They just don't stop. That's the number one thing, that commitment that I would say that commits you is that, okay, this is my goal. This is my big goal, and I'm moving towards it. Now, if you want to have a daily goal too, but you're always moving towards that big giant goal, that you got that is like, and that's your, you know what I mean? And that is, you're unstoppable towards that. I'm going to get something done that works towards towards this unstoppable goal. Oh, I like this one. So I was asked, do unstoppable people rely on motivation at all, or is it 100% discipline? So I've always heard, like it's all about discipline, right? You got to have this great discipline. Well, I'm telling you, what if you don't have great discipline? What if you don't feel like working out in the morning? You know what I mean? Like you're tired, you don't feel like it, and you don't have this great discipline. Well, the way that I've gotten discipline is by motivating the crap out of myself to get out there to begin with. Like I'll watch one motivating video after another. We're really lucky to have YouTube. If you use, videos in a positive way, you can really inspire yourself. And, I'll look up like, unstoppable people, never quit videos. And you just get to where you're like, I fire myself to get out there. And if you keep getting out there with motivation, because I hear that stuff where motivation is crap, and I just don't believe it at all. I believe if I didn't have motivation to begin with, I wouldn't have discipline to do the stuff that I do. So because discipline is like it's a muscle. It's a muscle, but you got to build up. You got to get in the arena to begin with to build up that muscle of discipline. So the way I get out there in the beginning is like something I don't want to do. I get out there by motivating the crap out of myself until I've watched enough stuff and put enough positive stuff in my head that I'm out there attacking these goals. And then when you keep attacking the goal and you get out there day after day after day, and you're swimming in San Francisco Bay and you do it day after day, pretty soon comes discipline, man. It's a habit, and I got the discipline to do it because I've been doing it over and over again. But you got to get out there to begin with in that bay. I need to motivate myself. I watched a lot of Diana Nyad movie, her movie. I watched the documentary, the Nyad, the movie, 10 times. I watched her documentary like 6 times. I watched The Young Woman in the Sea, which is the Disney movie on the first woman who swam the English Channel. I've watched that like 8 times because I'm positively motivating myself and brainwashing myself to get out there. That's the key. So I'm doing this to get out there. And then once I start getting out there, then I'm building the muscle like, hey, you got out there yesterday, you got out there the day before, you can do it again today. You can do it again today. You keep doing it, so you're building that muscle of the discipline. But the motivation for me, I think motivation gets kind of a bad thing. Like it's all about discipline, but you got to start somewheres, and the motivation is when I got something I don't want to do, and I haven't done it over and over and over again yet. I motivate myself to get out there and do it. And then by doing that and doing it over and over again, then I start building that discipline, So I just asked, what daily rituals or mental routines keep you in the warrior mode? So for me, yeah, it's just, I think the main thing is like just brainwashing myself with this back wall and stuff, and reminding myself that, I'm trying to get out there and inspire millions of people, and I'm not going to inspire millions of people. I will, a lot of times, like when I don't get out there and do my training, or when I, which is very infrequent, very unusual unless I'm sick or something. But how crappy you feel if you don't go out there and do your workout. I remind myself of that, I would rather go out there and freeze my ass off in San Francisco Bay and do a 4-hour swim than have that feeling like I'm a loser and I can't get out there and do my workout, it's just, yeah, that is, that feeling of like, I don't know, I hate that word loser, but that is what I feel like if I can't get out there and do what my workout is. Now, there are reasons sometimes where I don't do it because I am sick or overtrained, super, like my body's just not right. But 99%, I would say 99.9% of the time, if my body's right and I'm healthy, man, I'm out there no matter if I hate it or not, I'm showing up and doing it because I hate the feeling of not doing it worse than I hate jumping in the freezing cold San Francisco Bay at like 6 a.m. to do a swim or something, or 7 a.m, whatever it is, So, but anyway, so I think you got to push through, the average person's mindset. Like, it's going to be uncomfortable to do that. I'm not going to do it, and you got to push through that and just get to where you're doing it, and you're doing it every day, and however you can get out there, motivating yourself, whatever it takes. And then it eventually becomes a freaking, you build that muscle up through motivation to get mental toughness. And then it's like, all right, I don't need to watch a video. I'm just going to go jump in the freaking bay today because I've been doing it for 2 straight weeks. And I've built that muscle up of jumping in cold San Francisco Bay and swimming, so that's what, yeah. So I'm encouraging you to get that, whatever it takes. Like I said, I look at this wall too for between an hour and 2 hours in the morning to get my mind right, and get that mind right and get my, just get that warrior mindset that nothing's going to stop me. And I could feel it, like I'll be tired and you got a million excuses. And then, like I said, if I start watching some motivational videos and I start looking at my wall, I could feel myself when I shift. I feel myself when I shift from the guy who's going to take the life's excuses and want to like do nothing for the day to the guy who's got the warrior mindset. I can feel the shift happen. and I'm not going to stop no matter what. And I'm going for my goal, and it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning, but then once I get in the mode, man, I'm freaking moving and I'm on my way because I freaking love this life. I love the challenge of this life. The tougher the challenges, the better, because that's what I live for. I live for those challenges, you know. So let's see. I got another question here. Do you think being unstoppable is born, or can you train yourself into it? Wow, good question. The unstoppable thing is definitely it's mental toughness, man. It's that you train yourself that you're going to be unstoppable by just keep getting out there and getting out there and getting out there. It's like when horrible things happen to me, and you know, and I don't finish something, and it's like just like I'm in major pain. You know, I don't even think about it. It's like I'm automatically coming back and doing this again. Even if it scares the crap out of me, like I think I was going to die, I'm going, okay, I'm coming back. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think or what happened. I'm coming back. So I've just trained myself that it's not even a question if I'm coming back and doing it again. If I get my ass handed to me, don't finish, life kicks the crap out of me. It's that this is what I do. I come back, I sign up again, and I do it again. No matter what the fear is, no matter what's happened, whatever the consequences have been in the past, I'm going to re-sign up. I'm going to do it again because that's what I do. I don't quit. And you train yourself over and over again that you don't quit. And you know what ends up happening if you keep training yourself with that mental toughness, and then you get your, you know, and then you get where it is a mental routine that you're not going to quit. It's just my automatic answer is I never quit. I don't even think. If I don't think about it. It's just I don't quit. I'm coming back. I'm going to figure out how I could do better the next time, how I hopefully can make it. But no matter what, I'm not going to quit. And that's how you end up with, you know, 6 attempts at Mount Denali in Alaska, the world's coldest mountain, where I've fallen in a crevice and had frostbite so bad my thumb turned black. You know, I had to go to 3 doctors till I could keep it. And, you know, and I went back up to Mount Shasta, which is an easier mountain, to start, after I fell in the crevice, and start working on my fear now of falling into a crevice, which is a weird fear to have. And, you know, and I remember when I went back there, I mean, I'm climbing on an easier mountain. You're not going to, they don't even have, I don't even think they have crevices up there, or crevasses, to say it properly. But I had all this fear as soon as I got on the hard, icy snow, you know, that I was going to fall in a crevasse. But you're going like, I don't care about the fear. I'm going to fight through this fear until I get my courage back enough that I'm going to go up on Mount Denali and try it again, because I never freaking quit. So that's the warrior mindset. No matter what happens to you, no matter how much fear you have of whatever you just took on that kicked the crap out of you, you get your warrior mindset on and you go back up there. For me, it's like Denali is a freaking nightmare for me. It just is. I've tried to climb it 6 times. I've had some really bad experiences up there. But you know what? I'll be back for a 7th, guaranteed, because I never freaking quit. And that's what I'm encouraging you to. I think we're wrapping up here. Don't quit on those goals. Have that warrior mindset that you're not going to quit no matter what life throws at you. And you're just going to tee it back up and go back up after that big scary goal, no matter what. And you do whatever training's necessary, and you keep building that mindset. So the lunch pail half hour is wrapping up. We're blue collar. I even got a hard hat somewhere because I used to be construction. I was more of a carpet guy in construction, but sometimes we had to wear hard hats. And that means a TI guy did the work inside the building. But I was on hard hat jobs too, where we had fancy lunch pails. So the lunch pail half hour signing off. Woo, woo, go get that goal. Keep the warrior mindset and never quit till you get that goal, no matter what life throws at you. Woo, woo. See you on Thursday.